Hi everyone, welcome to another Nature Walks video. We're in the middle of February now, so we're sort of getting quickly towards spring, and today I want to show you what I would say is a classic sort of February plant. And what's quite exciting about it is it's massive, so it's really easy to identify, but it's also quite scarce. It's not the most common plant ever, so quite a good one to sort of be able to find. I'm quite lucky, so I'm just on the edge of my woodland. And quite fortunately there are two that are right out in the open. There's one here and one up there, over there. That's not typically where you'd find this plant. It's actually more of a sort of classic of being in the woodland in sort of shadier locations, but that's probably because it used to be partly more scrubby and woodland. It's just been cut to open up the meadow, so just sort of a living remnant basically. But you might recognize this type of plant because actually there's quite a few sort of garden varieties that look very similar, but the classic sort of ID features of this plant is its leaves. So you can see that they've got these sort of like palm-like hands with very glossy serrated edges, and then these much more paler green flowers that are at the top. So this is typical of the Hellebore family, of which there's two native varieties in the UK. There's green hellebore, which is much more scarce, and then there's this one. This is stinking hellebore. And the reason it's called stinking hellebore is because if you give the leaves a bit of a rub or a crush, don't ingest them, they're toxic, but the smell is perfectly fine. They have a bit of a whiff. They have this sort of strong smell of a sort of bisto or gravy or beef granules that some people like, some people don't. And it's very similar to stinking iris, which again is where these sort of names come from, but stinking maybe is a little bit harsh. It's nothing to do with the flower. So how do you split this one, stinking hellebore, from the other one, green hellebore? Because they occur in similar locations, so they tend to prefer sort of lime, chalky, rich woodland areas. So how do you tell the difference? Well, it's all about the flower, and it's well worth having a good look at the flower because they're quite unusual. So they're not particularly colourful, they're green flowers, they're kind of hanging, drooping flowers. But the main thing about stinking hellebore is it's this little cup-like flower. So it's all quite closed, a little tube or little cup. And just around the edges, you might see that there's sort of like a blushing pinky red sort of lipstick all around the outside edge of the petals. Really quite pretty. And if I have a look at any of the sort of petals or any of the flowers, they should all have that, which they do. Yeah, really quite gorgeous. If this was green hellebore, the flower would be quite different actually. So it would be much more open, a bit like a satellite dish sort of shape, and it would lack having any of that red lipstick around the outside. So quite different. The leaves are also quite different too, although I'll have a look in a book because it's quite hard to describe the difference in the leaves. So really quite pretty. I always say when you go out looking for this plant, you're kind of looking for a ballerina. So nice sort of greenish dark skirt, and then sort of the sort of more tunic top to it. It's got quite a nice sort of dress and sort of thin bodied shape at the top. So really quite a nice characteristic plant to have a look for. So as I said, typically in woodlands, it's not amazingly common. So if you come across it, then you're doing well. And it's an indicator that you've kind of got calcareous or limey, chalky soil underneath. So useful information for you to know. Okay, hope you enjoyed that, and yeah, we'll catch up again soon. Bye.